Hi, good night, and welcome to DLP TV. I hope that you all had a wonderful day today. My name is Malissa Howard, and I am your host for tonight. And joining me to my right is Rowe, the candidate for City of Bridgetown. To his right is Nathaniel Boyce, the candidate for St. Michael's South.
Hi, good night.
And to my far right would be Dr. Alleyne, a former committee development officer. Our topic for tonight is poverty exists. We must assist. So poverty exists all over the world, and poverty is defined by individuals, in a different way. What it may mean to me, it may not mean to you. So what does poverty mean to each and every one of you? Starting with Dale.
Poverty. When I look around the city, I see very, very bad housing conditions. Perfect example, we went camping this evening. As some of the conditions, poverty moved from one generation to the second and the third generation. So housing, infrastructure, high cost of living, and lack of opportunity.
Nathaniel?
Well, me living in St. Michael's South in Bridgetown for over 43 years, well, I've seen different levels and it varies. Recently, as I move around the constituency, you find that you actually have families who don't have running water and electricity. The house obviously is a wooden structure. It holds the roof end is out. Obviously there's only one party. If a situation, we give one situation, a young man and his wife. He has a security job and they have about 3 or 4 children, and he's the breadwinner. And I actually saw them was actually cooking right by the back door. And that's something you don't think you probably would think still existing in certain communities. You have a situation too, obviously, in terms of persons who we once considered middle class have found themselves falling at the bottom, where although they're working, they're basically working from paycheck to paycheck, and they have encountered some challenges because they still have a family, they still have to pay the bills, So even you found some persons too, you can say that could handle themselves too. The complaints are there in terms of what's happening in the economy, the rising food prices, the different taxes being imposed on us. So for me, it varies at different levels.
There.
You can use the textbook definition. Poverty is the person's inability to meet the basic needs, shelter,
food, clothing,
and so on. You also have to add social needs because they're also critical to person's survival. The United Nations, the World Development Bank, everybody will provide their own definition of understanding what poverty is. And as Melissa said, every country has a group of people that live in poverty. United States has poverty due to the levels of inequality across different states in the United States. Some states in the United States are poorer than others. In the Caribbean, we are still considered to be fairly comfortable. High levels of poverty do not exist using those matrices. Those matrices. Yeah. Some countries are considered extremely poor. Some are poor. Some are bordering, and then some don't qualify as having high levels of poverty. The Caribbean is probably in the second or third. And you can use the Human Development Index as a measure of a person, a country's growth and development and attachment to poverty. I think Barbados say that in 1994, Barbados was the top-ranking developing country on the basis of Human Development Index. It was number 20 in the world, the highest ranked developing country. It is now 58. Antigua and Barbuda, Trinidad and Tobago. There's another country, Kitts Nevis. have passed us in the index, and I don't know what we will look at to see the matrix of that they put into measure the progress, whether it was just poverty, access to this, good governance. And we're going to look at the index changes between 1994 and now to see if we can give something to come. Why the 58 for Barbados when we used to be number 20?
Yeah. So, but with your own trained experience, what would you say would have been the changes that you have seen over the years that will cause us to decline?
I think I would say that lack of priority setting. We get we're trying to do some of the things that we are not ready to do. I really don't like to get the big debate of this core thing about climate change. Because climate change in a 2018 phenomenon, the climate has been changing ever since.
Yeah.
And we have been adapting to the changes ever since. But to make this thing, this big issue that we have to do this for climate change, I was just doing some research there. And in 2019, the Barbados government approached the UNDP for a loan. And the head of it was the whole question of climate change. But when I go into the fine part of the budget, it was really the first that the money was used to facilitate the development and implementation of BERT. And I can tell you, the macroeconomic consulting services will be required to assist with the institutional strengthening, social protection component, enhance capacity to implement BERT. That was the one of the poverty alleviation projects 2019.
But for the viewers that don't know what BERT is, could you explain what the acronym means?
Barbados Economic
Recovery Transformation.
I think we have about 3 now. And my issue though with these programs is that they always have a poverty component attached to them. But then when you look to see what has been done to deal with the issue of poverty, you don't find any connection. I looked at listing the amount of times that the government has come up with a program that is directed at elderly, young people, needy people, disabled. And every time they say something, it's always soon coming.
Yeah.
David, yes, you got to call this government the soon come. And they went through papers yesterday, 2% papers in 19th and 20th of last month. And every statement made by the government, we must do so and so, or something soon coming. I know they just went to the government last year. It's 7 years.
7 years.
And they have not yet been able to deliver programs that are directed towards the people that have challenges, the youth programs, the efforts to build up a disability policy and new program has gone nowhere. You know, so from my eye, I already see a lot of talk about the implementation deficit of this government is getting higher by the month. No implementation of any of its projects, just talk and focusing on a lot of macroeconomic issues
And not the
and
micro.
not getting down to the micro issues that we will feel that something is happening for the poor in this country. So that is so long.
Yeah, that's okay. If you look online, you will see that most articles, scholarly articles, would tell you that a person can survive on $1.99 per day. Now, if you look at our economy today, the amount of inflation, the cost of living going on, how realistic is $1.99 per day?
But first, let me just say that is a fictional number, right? And there's no currency attached to that. It doesn't say US dollars or Burundi dollars or whatever.
Yeah.
That's to try to get a feel what to bring all the countries on a par, because with the United States, they're accepted annual income for a family is $29,000. Okay, $29,000 in Barbados maybe may say something, but ain't say nothing. If somebody living in Denmark or Sweden who have very high development measures, but that doesn't mean that a person can't be living off of $3,000 a month and still not struggling.
Yes.
Not that they're in poverty, but they cannot get ends meet. If you're paying a mortgage over $3,000 a month, you're almost dead. Because the mortgage is going to be more than half of that. And then we have another category called the working poor. People who's out working, probably just doing 20, 30 hours at a minimum wage. We just say the minimum wage gone up. Right? But these guys, I saw a social thing going around. This guy see before the start run on the block. That they're going to work the 24 hours that he get in for 3 months. Right? And then we add it up. Because he's working, there's an expectation that you're working. So you got to help pay the bills. You got to provide something. But when he go work and he get $226, right? You got to pay a bus fare. You got to buy lunch. You got to get deodorant. You got to get soap. You know what I'm saying? And then he girlfriend looking for something. and he had nothing in the hand sheet. He's working. But he's still poor.
Still poor. All right, so let's move on to the causes of poverty. Let us start with the economic factors. You have high unemployment, low wages, like you just said, and economic inequality. So in your opinion, what are the causes of poverty?
Well, as a teacher by profession, and obviously at that level, you have children coming to you from various backgrounds. And even today was bus school, and the young man that I saw, his clothes, they looked like he didn't get washed or anything like that there. Obviously situation, and obviously too, I'll be honest with you in terms of, because this situation, a conversation that we had among some other persons too, sometimes the parents can't afford to give the children deodorant, like you mentioned, and having even on the block or in my journeys across the constituency, persons would say, the truth is that you got a single parent who may have 2 or 3 children, and she's out there so trying to make ends meet, and the money got to go towards the things that really matter. And sometimes children, they come to school, some don't have breakfast or so, or they may just have a little sweet drink. And they depending on the low school meals that they're getting. We also, too, some parents they're working. So like you said, and they're breaking the working class. So they're trying to break a job here and there and there. Even a situation like guys who may be doing labor work, working for maybe, let's say, I'll try a little higher, 140. And with that 140, between trying to catch a bus for work that week, may say let's run them about, he says $70. That's $70 already out, and they still gotta look to get something to eat. And food can go from maybe $13 to maybe $25 for a decent, right? So from that point of it, in terms of the money too, even although the minimum wage just went up, then you realizing you're going to supermarkets and other places too, they start to pop up. And then you heard recently too, Sabino mentioned, because the minimum wage gone up, and he had they had a lot of different factors coming in.
But I think if we stop and really think things like the COVID-19 would have impacted
economically,
how the economy was going. We had a period where globalization was adjusting, and employment shifted. The shift in technology also would impact people's ability to find sustainable and decent jobs and so on. So those broad concepts you can apply to what will cause poverty. Certainly if they had a big bad hurricane go here for the next 3 or 4 years, we will be eating breadfruits if we can find them.
Yeah, that would be an environmental factor, but we haven't gone there as yet.
No, I believe
Yeah.
because you can't go with a word, right? I remember Dominica used to produce soap, because they had corporate.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember in the Hugo or one of the hurricane spots, and they off all the coconut tree down. And that whole industry
Was destroyed.
went down. So
Mm.
the environmental factor impact the economy,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore people then went quickly into very, very poor environments. Couldn't survive. You know, all the houses had to be rebuilt. Then there's no work, factory slows down. So those things can lead to poverty. But another one is poor governance, management, and use of financial resources.
Corruption.
That
Yes.
too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that is my point.
Mm.
My point that I was about to make
Mm.
is mismanagement of the national funds.
Yeah.
So when you got poor governance,
Mhm.
mismanaging national funds,
Mhm.
you're not going to put those funds
Mhm.
to social programs.
Mm.
You know what's going to happen? You starving the social programs, you starving the opportunity
Mm.
that we can present
Mm.
to people that in poverty.
Mm.
Example, when you have an early school leaver,
Mm.
school dropout,
Mm.
you have a school dropout,
Mm-hmm.
his or her parents might not have the relevant funds to help him or her get CXCs. But when you got a mismanagement of government funds like regathering, you get me? Like regathering, how is it really benefiting the young people?
Getting something to work up.
Mm-hmm.
It's not benefiting young people at all. So one of the major causes of poverty in this country today is the mismanagement of government funds, national funds. To
I
be
don't
honest,
agree with that. It's glaring. It's glaring.
Yeah.
The amount of resources spent on the botanical gardens is frightening. You know,
Mm.
I mean, I only hope that the leader of the opposition can get audit that up there.
you know another what I realize, right, from my observation, another cause of poverty, you get me, is borrowing $1 billion. When you borrow $1 billion,
Mm.
we might put the headlines 500 US, 500 million US.
US. Mm-hmm.
But how much we go up here back?
$1 billion
We go up here back
plus the interest.
plus the interest. We go up here about 8% interest in 10 years.
Mhm.
And if we really punch numbers, we're looking at a total debt of $800,000 US, 800 million US dollars.
Mhm.
So that's gonna put me like $1.6 billion in debt.
Further.
Further.
in debt.
Yeah. Further.
So we can pull that fund. No, we can get that money quite out of control because we starving the community programs that can help develop young people, stabilize the mind, give young people hope, sense, and a need to want to contribute to society.
All right. Let's discuss the social factors, the healthcare, the education system, and how the lack of education really affects poverty.
But you know, we used to brag about how educated Barbadians were. I began to know to question it when they see somebody things that they support with this government. I just
Mhm.
want to waste money. But surely, adjusting the education to meet the environment in which you are going to be working, going to be living, because education is not only about working, it's about living
Mhm.
and being able to express yourself, to write, to read, to do several other things. Okay, to think critically and so on. So our education system was now supposed to be transformed, and it was supposed to be we share
Mhm.
this
Imagine.
imagine and 11 plus was supposed to go through the door.
Mm-hmm.
All kinds of things that made people say, oh, something is about to happen. 7 years later,
So they
nothing
happen. Yeah.
has happened. So it's soon to come. It's soon to come. And that is the issue. If you will hear this government came in office, they were going to be digitizing the whole public service. There was going to be a new technological revolution. They were going to move up a lot of the administrative functions of government and bring in technically skilled people.
Mm-hmm.
Soon come.
Soon come. Deal.
Yeah, you know, when we look at education, I think we need to look at education from a different level.
Mhm.
When I say a different level, I mean let me think outside the box. The government
Mhm.
have been expelling students for the longest while.
Mhm.
You get me? Let me look at the root cause
Mhm.
of those troubled youth.
Mhm.
So I believe that the government should put a system in place that when you have young boys or girls not focusing, rather than sending them up to expel them, why not move them from that school facility, put them in a different institution to help develop them?
Mhm.
Because if we don't develop these young people, look, we expel the young people, we only giving the gang leaders more employees, potential employees. Because when you're expelled at 15, almost everywhere you look for job opportunities, they are asking you for 2 or 3 years experience. So if a boy or a girl is expelled out of school at 15, who or how he or she will get experience? The only experience they can get is penny block. So that's why when we look at crime so high because we fail our young people rather than expelling them. Let me strengthen the youth service,
Mhm.
disciplinary programs at the youth service. Let me strengthen those programs that we can have these young people enroll to develop self. Because not everybody want to do math, English, doctor, lawyer. There are persons that are very good with hands,
Yes.
crafting, art, you name it, sports.
Mhm.
So let me put a proper fund in place to help, the educational system. Let me diversify it. Let me do it different.
All right, we have some comments here online from our very own Amoy Gildenborn. That is why there are so many youth that are depressed and angry. No certificates, no job opportunities, no money, but the politicians living large. Another comment from our Senator Andre Rowe. More land is being cleared from the Bell area along the highway to expand the botanical gardens and not to plant food. So we're going to have more parties?
Sure.
Another comment from Senator Andre Rowe. Having access to affordable, nutritious food can help to combat poverty. More agricultural projects are needed. Marva Hunt. Poverty exists among us. There are many people who are suffering in silence. Example, jobs, lack of finances. Begging has increased among women. That's an interesting comment. Can we discuss the increase in poverty among women in the island?
No, I generally say a good measure.
Mhm.
I mean, people are under stress is the amount of people who are begging.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's getting so critical that walking down the street now, you gotta be looking left, right, and ducking. You understand?
Mhm.
Another good measure that I find is when I see people coming out with a little tray and selling water by inside the road and some juices here, some juices there.
Mhm.
And sometimes they got you think when I look at things that some of the trades they don't have the $40, but the selling it is that thing. And a study that was done in Barbados recently, I think the UNDP had done it. The impact on women,
Mhm.
because a lot of the working poor are in the retail and wholesale areas, or women are impacted more because the levels of salaries in retail and wholesale, 70% people in those areas said that they were in the working poor category, and they were mainly women. So I think that is the area that we need to get the minimum wage a little higher.
Yeah.
So do something about the prices in the supermarkets so that our women who are working for those wages. To me, I don't want to call companies along the harbor zone where people will work and come home, do 30 hours and come home with almost
Nothing.
Therefore, that we mainly women in those categories. Good thing for women is that a lot of them now can do nails and hair and those subsidiary activities that they can add
Extra income.
Yes, supplement their incomes to get by.
Mhm.
It's getting tougher and tougher because more and more women now are joining that market, making it very competitive.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, I kind of agree with Derek.
Mhm.
Using a measurement in terms of you drive around or you walk around certain districts, you might pass this road, then you next you come back, you see somebody with a tray or selling a few little things that you wonder how they can make something offer it.
Yeah.
Even up when I go to work, some this lady, she recently set up selling some plantains. I mean, she seemed to be getting a little money, but obviously, personally, you realize that you see people even by their homes, they're putting something up there so to say they can get a little income coming in. But what I would do is I would add to that, and that I wouldn't just say women, say children too. I had experience. I was in town when I left. We left there on Saturday, and I did a walk around. I went to the market. On my return, going back to my car, I saw two young boys, and they were looking at me. Nowadays, you're shot. You want to know if somebody looking at rob you, So they saw me, because I had on
The jacket.
no, I had a jacket, but I had on. It was dressed, in a sort of way. And at first he was going to pass, and then he stopped and he says, "Excuse me, sir. I wonder if you could help me." So I was there looking to make sure, because we had a young man move forward. So and
Big yard.
yeah, so I said myself. So then he said to me, "I don't want no money. I want you to buy something for me to eat. I will come with you. I will buy something." So you're thinking, so I said, so I started questioning, asking him a few things, I asked him school and stuff. And I work at government industrial school for a few months. So I asked him, so he told me he's Mr. Secondary school boy, bodybuilder champion. So I said, which school? He went to him, he said, government industrial school. So he obviously two young men. I don't know if they're homeless or whatever, but you're having children now who approach you for something, for money, because they're hungry. I mean, and obviously, if you got somebody that's hungry, we know what happens. They can risk something.
Yeah.
They can risk them that, and if they can't get no work or nothing like that. So I will add to that. The women will say children too, young girls too. I don't know if they'll think will agree with me, but sometimes so young girls, schoolgirls, at night time they go and do their little thing to get a little money. This is real life. Yeah, this is real life situations that are happening in Barbados. I mean, you might not want to talk about it, nobody's doing anything to say anything, but these are real life things happening in communities.
Well, I agree. A lot of persons are begging, and I hate to use the term begging, but when you look at our country today, our people are in serious need of assistance. They have persons that are employed, still not making enough, because by the time you done pay rent, and you done send school 3 or 4 children, it's gonna put women in a position to have to beg. Example, the government raised minimum wage from $8.50 to $10.50. Kudos to that. However, look at the flip side. Businesses have to account for that extra income that will be spent into labor. So the only way to combat that, I know businesses gonna do 2 things: cut your hours, point and blank. When you on the short hour, you're gonna work minimum legally 24 hours. 24 hours at $10.50, you're looking at $252 a week, which is for 3 days employment. The second thing that businesses can do, businesses will give you 32 hours, which is 4 days over a 5-day period. So you're gonna work 6 5-hour shifts. So you're gonna spend 5 days in bus fare to only get 32 hours, which is equivalent to 4 days.
Yeah.
So this is what's going on today. So now those persons that get the minimum wage increase, those persons really feeling it. And then on the other side of the scale, that going to automatically drive the cost of living up.
All right, we have another comment here from Shirley. I spend most of my days volunteering at a food bank here in Toronto. I see and know what hardship is like. So I know and understand what some Barbadians are experiencing. Have you seen an increase in any food banks here in Barbados?
No, but I want to make a point because we
Mhm.
dealt with women and children,
Mhm.
but the elderly,
Yes,
the elderly, especially those that are dependent, don't have people to supplement them.
Mhm.
We got to do something with the cost of Pampers. So people that have to use them,
Yeah.
we have to put some sort of control on because only today, tell you where we get
Adrian?
Adrian
Yeah.
went to help out the lady to get some for her. And those can run a monthly bill. And they're gonna get care. And I was talking to a home helper the other day, and she was telling me that she is stressed, that she got more people now to handle than she did a couple of months ago because the list of elderly people in need of care is getting longer. So the beginning challenges by the elderly, the people that are providing the service are under stress, okay, and the dollars that the pension that they have for pensions not stretching. So that is the double stress for the elderly. So children, elderly, I don't want to get to the main yet.
Yeah.
But also we got the people with challenges, disabled, so we got to start looking. That's when you start to look at poverty, you know, the macro indicators and how the work program doing, and all those are lovely terms. But how people are surviving is what a government must be concerned about.
All right, Shirley, I would just ask that you WhatsApp us at 233-0860. All right, we have another comment here online from Senator Andre Rowe. It seems like it's harder to get assistance from the agencies set up to help the needy. Lots of complaints for housing repairs and assistance with the basic necessities. With the from a comment from Marva Hunt, the constituency councils help many people financially and also empowering the young people in various skills, example, barbering, hair braiding, etc. And another comment from Senator Andre Rowe, with the increase in the cost of living, pensions may need to be increased. So Derek, you touch on the men.
Yeah.
What is going on with the men in our society? You know, a man likes to provide for his family.
That's really challenging comes when you can.
Yeah.
I heard one of those political people quarreling and cussing on social media, saying that the government is giving all these big jobs to women.
Yes.
I get that. That is his position.
yeah.
But I know that the society sets certain expectation for men.
Correct.
And men will, responsible men will take that expectation seriously. And I got a partner do 2 jobs. And sometimes I don't see him sometimes until Sunday because he's coming home from one job at 4 o'clock and then going to do another thing. And then get in the morning back to the day work. You know, so men are making those extra efforts when they can find it and when they got skills too. Guy is a plumber. He can do his plumbing during the day. Up in the night, you go and do security somewhere. They forget to get that. But those are indicators that people are under pressure.
Yeah.
And Barbadians are under pressure and they're suffering inside.
Yeah, what I could say about that, what Derek just said, too, in terms of the boys, men, in terms of looking at from school, where you have individuals who going into a school, leaving primary school, some who can't read and write, going into secondary school, more subjects being pushed on their throat, and they go into class, and obviously they're expecting to do a little bit more. They're leaving school because they get into trouble because they're not handling themselves. But we need to put those boys, not girls too, but boys in a position where they can be able to learn some life skills and keep them there. Because remember recently at a certain school, certain programs to help these at-risk children, that are not going to function academically, was sort of taken away. And it was promised that they're going to try to return it. That those children can be formed, because certain skills like barbering, the plumbing, masonry, painting, stuff like that, they can still make a living, because now you have plumbers and those guys, masons, who make a lot of money. They might not be economic. Even my carpenter, he didn't make it to high school, but he went on a training. He can build, flats, So there's a place for everybody, but we have to try to save them, because when they leave secondary school and then when the blocks hold them, it's easy for them. You'll be surprised a schoolboy can go probably make at least $2,000 a day selling, and if he's in that lifestyle, encouraged, he can still, but why he can continue this school thing that ain't really working for me, And then we seeing was playing out with a lot of young boys too. If you look at where they're coming from, that's what has had the outcome, and it is sad that we might be able to save some of them, but some of them are already such indoctrinated in what they're about that it's very hard. I had the opportunity to be in court when few young boys came in, and it seems to be glorious for them just being there. So having them equipped with some skills, that they can still function and still be able to make some money for themselves.
You see, that's something why I get so frustrated listening to the Minister Humphrey. When I was at Urban, we had a program called the AC Bridge program. They changed the name and call it the Friendly Families program.
Or talk.
Something like that. They just changed the name.
Yeah.
Right? And they have not resourced it. They have not brought on more technical people to visit the houses. They have not incorporated Urban Rural Development Commission, National Housing, and made not the car that he's been spending money on for the last 6 years. It is integrating the services, okay, and make them connected so that you know exactly what each family requires and how you can get those services delivered to the families, because a lot of those families have intergenerational poverty.
You're correct. One of the houses that I visited to, supposed to be in that program, and I'm glad that you brought it up. If you look at the house, I mean,
You mean the one family program?
One family program, and the flooring is almost gone. There's no light, water. This is not a house, no light, no water. I went and visited night. I was calling, but I didn't hear anybody. I don't know if somebody was there, but the flooring, the situation, obviously, somebody spoke to the occupants, and they said, well, persons have been visiting. First, they said they were at the 100 or something, and now they're like over, I think that 4,000. Something that it has pushed back. Like I said, the boy just come and visit, and that's it. Nothing. This has been a few years that they've been in this situation. Obviously, they have young children, and I mean, you said urban, nobody, the house falling to pieces,
The one family program and the ministers are a bunch of jokers. I met people in the city that in that same program, and like Nathaniel rightfully said, it's the same way in the change. Just be a big talk. So as it relates to the young men in our society, all right, they have guys in the city that have forklift license, CXCs, and all kinds of qualifications, and cannot get a job in Barbados today. So will you think that we as a society telling our young black men that have the qualifications to get involved in the life of crime? When we expel our black young boys, where are we sending them? We are sending them to get involved in the life of crime. Because watch it now, right? You come from a poor family. Your mom or dad on welfare. You get expelled out of school. How when you hit 16 for that welfare, so your parent collecting that welfare for you, you decide no that you want to go to skills training or polytechnic. How you gonna get the funding to get there? When your mother only collecting a welfare, a monthly welfare check for $100 for the other children, but you stop getting the welfare. how are you going to further studies? There's no opportunity there for you. The employer is not going to hire you because you don't have no experience. You don't have no qualifications. The only one that will give you opportunities is the bosses. The man on the block will say, yeah, Nathaniel, you gotta move this thing here for me. Sweep that thing there, drop that thing there, collect that thing there. Quick, so you get $500 in your hand.
Correct.
And you're signing nor sign out. So what do you think that happened at 15 years old? Correct. At 15 years old, you know empower a 15-year-old to carry home $500 and say, mommy, love. I know mommy now gonna be, yeah, boy. I know that John Brown so generous. And then she can say, well, keep
Get correct. Yeah.
You get John Brown.
Yeah, you're correct.
So John Brown is the boss.
Yeah.
The welfare giving you mother, you got two children in welfare giving you $200 a month. One child is $100 a month. Divided by 4, $25 a week. What can you buy welfare or the Barbados Labour Party? What you can buy with $100 for a child?
All right, you've jumpstart my next topic.
This is a fire me up, man.
Yeah. Let us take a time to discuss the welfare department and the People Empowerment Agency. What is the real role of the People Empowerment Agency?
It's to give the benefit time to go on TV and talk. They call it dog, you know, that's dog. You know, look, this whole connecting the social services, making them support each other, reduce duplication, run around. So that's been on the cards for a very long time.
Yeah.
And it's been taking too long in my view. When we had the IC Bridge program, we then brought everybody. I was on one of the committees. One of my staff members was on the second committee. So that there was movement. Now, I don't know what's happened recently, but we have not moved on. To me, we have gone back. And we have not given the urban and the rural development sufficient social housing funding. So a lot of the houses are going to be in a state of wind blow down. Just now. And all this talk about climate change and resilience. And we were supposed to change every roof to 30-degree pitch. We were supposed to get rid of every pit toilet.
Correct.
We were supposed to get all the dilapidated houses and the empty houses back into circulation. Nothing so. All the old carriers that all about Barbados were supposed to be sent to a special dump. Nothing so fresh. And therefore, those things can generate work.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? We are not talking, we have to do these things. Those are job creating exercises. Every time you gotta move a car, you gotta pick it down. You just can't throw the plastic and the metal the same place. You gotta pick it down and separate them out. Every time you gotta change a roof, you gotta get carpenter, mason, plumber, everybody, electrician, everybody. Those are job generating exercises. The first thing they see in the social program, a consultant. First name, the first thing you gotta do is get a consultant to strengthen the program. That is a $3 million program for Barbados and St. Lucia. Started in 2019. And the first set of money they're spending was money for 2 or 3 consultants. 2 or 3 consultants when they have Barbadians already in these social development programs that are in the ministry. Urban Development Commission, they want a commission to go and get people houses repaired. We have technical officers and social welfare officers that know exactly what they have to do. So you don't have to go and get enough people to tell Barbadians that a program that we've been doing now for 30 years that we want consultant. What do you want consultant for? Put the money in the departments and let the technical people and the management staff and they run the programs and take out the consultants. The consultants are causing confusion because some of the directors and managers can't tell them what to do or to leave things alone. They're reporting directly to the minister and creating havoc in the public service. And that's wasting money too. Keeping me in poverty.
So we have situations in the welfare department where a mother of 4 will be getting a check for $400 and somebody a month. How can a mother of 4 in this day and age survive on $470 something per month?
Watch it, right? The welfare department, first off, I want to thank all of the workers. You get me? But if I was the person that managing the welfare department or the ministry, I'm managing that ministry, you need checks and balances because the welfare officer is supposed to go out and do checks. But they also need some type of security to facilitate that. That has been removed from the welfare.
When you say security, what do you mean exactly?
So as a female social worker, you have to go to a house, and this house is 2 males or a male, or you know, wherever you go, you're supposed to have some figure there with you to go to that visit. The welfare department, those officers had that privilege removed. Gas allowance or travel allowance that has been removed. So how can the people in the welfare effectively do their jobs? But we will want to pay consultants and do regathering. Why not put again mismanagement of national funds? If the minister of people empowerment really care about empowering people empowerment. If you don't really care about people empowerment, you want to make sure that your people at the welfare have the relevant tools that fully execute effectively that job.
And the thing that I used to tell the board at urban, once I make the staff happy, the clients gonna be happy.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? I get my staff to recognize what their jobs are about and make sure they're comfortable. We can get the work done without headaches. And we something them. You come in there on Saturday, the people in there comfortably waiting for people to come in. They're working.
Correct.
We never, that office never closed at 4 o'clock or 7 o'clock. We still there because the office was made comfortable, the work was made enjoyable, and we should tell them, make the staff comfortable. Every air hostess to tell you, put on your mask first.
Correct. Watch it, all right? Melissa asked a very good question. How a mother of 4 could survive off of $400? Which is $25 a child per week. When the government careers the cost of living, in the Barbados Labour Party manifesto for 2018, they said they're gonna reduce the VAT to the 15%, and let me reduce the VAT. You get me?
The gateway.
then the focus is regathering. You get me? But then we have Barbadian citizens that can't get breakfast. The people that really manage in this country should really look at go and visit the primary schools. And I'm talking about going and visit primary schools to give the children clipboards. That's all they can do is give them clipboards. Go to the primary schools and really talk to principals and teachers that manage children on a day. When you have a parent that's on welfare, $25 a week by 5 days. That's only $5 a day. But let me get more technical. If we drop it now and we do it for 7 days, will you think how much money you spend in a day for a child? So we take a child, like, so 90% of our children drinking Bastas in the morning and go away at our school meals. So what you think happening in the primary schools? What you think happening in the secondary schools? So $400 can help the single mother that on welfare, along with paying rent. In addition to that, right, we're gonna look at the allowance for the children. You also have to look at the pension for the elderly, because I know you have to stake out, but your pension will be 40% of your salary, but 40% a minimum wage salary is only $672. So 40% of $1,680, which is $10.50 multiplied by 40 hours, which is $420 a week. $420 a week by 4 weeks is $1,680. 40% of that will give you an average of $672.
Pause a minute. We have a comment online from Shirley. I realize the government do not look after the elderly there, meaning Barbados. Here in Toronto, there are senior apartments which are subsidized, and some of them receive a top up on their pensions to help them. And Shirley, you asked me to repeat the number. The number that you can WhatsApp us on is 233-0860. The people empowerment. Now, we recently had the budget earlier this year, and approximately 116 million was allotted to this agency. If you look around, where is the money going? We have persons who have their houses destroyed by barrel. Some of them been placed in rental apartments for a couple months, and the owners of the houses haven't been receiving any rent from the welfare department, and they're threatening to put out these individuals. Some of them are looking for places to live. So where is the money going?
The government is disappointed in the Barbados Labour Party as it relates to the welfare when you have to pay for housing for people.
Mm.
If you have to pay housing for people, the welfare department, government need to understand that people have mortgages as well.
Mm-hmm.
People have their monthly commitments as well. So one, you should make sure that the livelihood of the people that are vulnerable, you should make sure that these things are in place, rather than just making sure that regathering is in place. I can bet you that all of the checks or anybody that going to do anything pertaining to regathering, will they get the money already?
But that when you started with the
Mismanagement, national fund.
priority.
Yeah.
No, the leader of the took a position not to support regathering. 150% in support of that.
Yes.
Correct.
It is not fulfilling what it was supposed to do. Originally, regathering was taken from the conference that we used to have every year for the diaspora conference. Used to come down and used to be held in joint crop over.
Mm-hmm.
And people would come down and the part crop over also to discuss business, social problems, and so on. Well, Molly believe that affecting is the best form of life. Once you can get affect, so she took the concept and put it into refetting.
Mm-hmm.
No, looking through the estimates, you can really find the money for regathering. But in every ministry, little set was set aside for regathering. So in the estimates, it was not a regathering $20 million. Some was in welfare, some was in education, some was in housing, some was in Prime Minister travel, all over the estimate. Okay, so that when the end of the year, now are you doing the revised estimates to see exactly what was spent, you are not going to be able to account for what happened. Regathering. No, I'm saying that there's sufficient money in regathering that could have gone, half of it could have gone to welfare. And some could have gone to Rural Development Commission, Urban Development Commission. Now, all you're going to get out of regathering is people beating, playing music, the rental of tents, rental of stages, and the same little crowd. Gonna gather from the rain. Same little crowd. When you could have put the money into, I don't want to say more productive, because for Morley, affect is a productive exercise.
All right. So we have traversed Christchurch West Central, the city of Bridgetown, and St. Michael South. We have come across some houses that are very bad conditions. Some of them that were badly destroyed by the hurricane. Individuals that approached the welfare department for assistance haven't received the assistance that they need. And if you can look on the screen, you will see the pictures of some of these homes. Some of them are owned by the elderly in society, who are known to be our most vulnerable individuals. So if they have gone to the welfare department, they've done everything that they could. What can be done to help these individuals?
I think I got a telephone call yesterday from a member of Urban Development Commission complaining about a lady, 81 years old, who wants a bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
She still has to go to the yard. I mean, I told him, how that slip you? Said that there was some issue, but she's in a position now where she can get the bathroom. No, she can't manage that herself. And I often say it, is that when a person who is now 80 years old and with a public officer got his or her pension, it wasn't the $2,000. It was $1,200 or $1,400, and it had not gone up incrementally with the rising cost of living. Every now and then, again, adjustment to pensions, but it's not significant, and therefore, more and more of our elderly people now are going to be coming and wanting assistance. We need to put money in those programs. So you go to the Urban Development Commission now, and for the last 7 or 8 months, the song was, we are amalgamating the two entities, and we're not certain what we're going to be able to do, who's going to be in charge, and what we can do. So there was sort of play ball. National housing ain't don't do any more social housing. So we're not building any more units for people that are poor. It really no falls on Urban and Rural Development Commission, whose budgets, as a matter of fact, the Urban Development Commission was given responsibility for fixing the bus stand, the Fairchild Street bus stand, those kiosks.
Yeah.
That was the Urban Development Project, rather than doing the
houses for poor people.
For poor people, that they started doing that. And they think rural development budget has not moved. So really and truly, you are not putting any resources in the two units, and merge them. Merge them. Reduction in staff again. Not many then gone off, but some gone off because they know a couple of people who gone off. No, so what I'm saying is, rather than resource the places that are there to help the poor, we are not providing the funding nor the staff. So with all the promises of really dealing with the housing problems in Barbados, I think that the opposition should be having a field day, identifying houses, people with needs, and highlighting them. Then go put the people's name, take the pictures, and distribute them all across the TV every week.
Every week. Well, we have some here, and we have a video here as well. Our producer can play.
It's for me now to sit down, talk to the God, the Creator, and see where He tell me.
So you can see the galvanized
how to go about it.
missing, ceiling missing, and this elderly still lives in the house.
You got consult getting about $40,000 a month. I've been in something consulting for 3 years. For 3 years. Every ministry got 2 and 3 consultants. People living was remarkable. We have people retired coming back as consultants. People that were in the cabinet that's supposed to get fired, them going back in the ministry as a consultant. All kind of crazy things.
And since we are still talking about the elderly in a sense, when we traverse the constituencies, we meet on older persons. They aren't working anymore, they're retired, but they're not receiving any pension. Some of them having enough contributions, but they still aren't receiving. And then on the other hand, you will have some that probably missing a couple contributions and they aren't receiving a pension. So the elderly in our country are really suffering. What can be done to help them?
First off, right, cut the weed gathering. Because last week Tuesday when I met that gentleman in the city, it hurt my heart that he worked in the public sector and he served our country and he is retired. Hurricane Beryl destroyed his home like that. He reached out to the sitting MP, to the city. Numerous occasions, they sent him to the welfare department, and the welfare department can't assist him.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is, right, is that we have these people over here, and that's not that is just one. This situation is scattered all across the city. I can show enough videos on top of videos on top of videos. Different elderly people, some receiving pensions, some are not. But we have these people existing amongst our humanity. All of we are humans. Let me forget party. Let me forget color. Let me forget race or religion. We are all humans. And if the Barbados Labour Party have a conscience, they would then put strategic funding to assist elderly, vulnerable mothers, children, and the disabled, the guys that are on the blocks, and for the small, when you come out of prison, what is there for you to do? No employment, back on the block.
But in reality, the money should be there. We borrowed over 400 million from the IMF. We just approved a loan for 500 US million. So where the money is not touching our social services. So where is the money going?
I think the government, they're trying to be a government of dependency where the government wants persons to have dependence. If you listen to Tom Freeman, he spoke, he's talking, they're increasing basically, and as Derek said, obviously the amount of money there for persons, because obviously it's telling you these signals that there are more persons out there who are becoming vulnerable, there are more persons who are not working and depending and looking to depend on government. And I mean, you don't want to politicize it, but you have a situation where even you guys would tell you where they may get a little job here working 1 week on, 1 week off, or they getting a job. And if you look around, you see guys working on the road now. They're working on the road now for a little bit, and then they're coming off, right? The situation obviously then we have with the old people is that even like in my situation where I met a few, those persons may be persons who may have supported the Democratic Labour Party, and you have a minister who have basically said that he's a people's person and he's here to serve the people, because that's when we get elected, we're here to serve persons. Everybody, whether you be DC, whatever letter you want to call it, and that is not what's being played out. And I can tell you that for a fact. I mean, even behind his office, there's a house there that me and him, we had a little toss over in that we're trying to get help for the old lady. He's the minister of elder, you understand, first. And I would think that because that house is right behind your office. You can't miss it. You can't miss it. Better you be there. You can make sure at least
you help that person.
And you have been stringing along with these individuals. I know you spoke about the elderly in terms of having a pension. Old lady, she had a challenge in terms of, I think she's still having it. She can't get the pension. Therefore, the daughter is who's supporting and trying to keep the lights on. I think her mom, wife, she's suffering, right? And she have approached the minister. I mean, I don't see how you approaching somebody over and over and over, and they keep stringing along, saying they can help you. It went as far as that. I remember when I would have called the media there, and they came. You see how fast the minister, he came along with the entourage, the PS and everybody. And yeah, they came and saying they can do this here. So obviously they backed off. Fast forward, you saw months pass, getting into the next year, because I would visit her in August, somewhere around August. So August came again, and I saw her walking, and I asked her how things, and she said nothing. She said, the minister said, it is what I don't know if this was playing across the board, that they're going to find a rent house and they can fix it first. Now she have the money. And she's saying she go to this body and that body. They're saying to her that the government don't pay, so I can. So she's still back at square one. So they're telling you to go and find some place I can pay your citizens. Say, all right, go to the person. I have these people here. I want to put them up because I want to fix it. Also, the house is still in the same position, right? So you have, obviously, you find that some of the same politicians, because somebody support one party or whatever the case be, they're pushing that person aside. You understand? And that person, sometimes is the person where he need real help.
Yeah, there's a lady in the city MP went visit the property. and give the woman one tarpaulin to cover the roof.
Yeah.
It's so serious. So like, there's nowhere I personally would give another human being a tarpaulin to put over a roof. The house is in bad condition. Why do we have sitting MPs doing what? It's very disappointing and heartbreaking. Honestly, when I meet persons in these situations, last Tuesday when I met that guy, that affected me, I met one when I was thinking about that for 2 days straight. How can we help? It's sad that we can spend X amount of millions in weed gathering. I stress on weed gathering because it's stressful.
It bothers me.
Because how we could put money there and we got people really suffering, crime out of control. They started the peace program. That was a prize program, prize possession program. But in 2024, crime was 50 murders.
Yeah, and the peace program was good in that day.
They launched a peace program.
Yeah.
And how it really benefited the young people. It only made things worse.
Yeah.
The bottom line is that this government has priorities wrong. And Barbadians are noticing and saying nothing.
Right.
I'm glad that we were able to get these programs going. At least something is being said. I noticed that the candidates are getting information out in the media and things. Notice some people writing all across social media. So we gotta get information and keep it in the front of the people's eyes, because a lot of the things that people suffer is saying nothing. And everybody feel that everything is fine. And once the Prime Minister get another botanical garden's fair, go up there in the sweat, it's actually one going to social media with a fighting and carrying on. Only today again, another spectacle with them behavior. So, but the other thing now is the kids are out of school next week.
Correct.
Yeah.
What is the status of the summer camp program?
The government one, the free one.
Yeah.
Nothing.
What is the status of it?
Nothing. You normally for me, I am saying even people and other teachers, what they have done is that they're trying to create. They're having some summer camps because obviously parents want your children to be involved in something productive, and you have teachers stepping up to have some. They ain't give all the summer, but they have some little camps. Some are resource camps too. Some are camps to work with some of the children to have some challenges of what's not. Right. So as it relates to the government, we haven't heard anything, seen anything. So obviously it seems to something of the past.
No, the government summer camp still goes on. However, they're gonna start the summer camp in schools like St. Ambrose and other primary schools all across Barbados, right? But when you look at the camp director, the camp director don't get no funding from the government. The camp, for the smaller, Gully Hill had the same camp last year. Lunch never come. The lunch don't come.
But I'm glad I mentioned because we had a whole set of lunch about where we work. I mean, a whole set that we actually had to distribute to different organizations. That actually, I was there when they came and collected and took back the stuff. So I was smelling that because it was ready for those children who in the communities who were obviously at the upper school and may have challenges to get that food. But that didn't really happen.
In addition to the lunch not going to these summer camps, right? The persons that direct the summer camp, they have to use their own resources to bring people in to assist with the students.
But you see, that is, and I think we can't keep saying it too often. Everything that the Democratic Party tried, they wanted to change.
Yeah,
correct.
So they came in stupidly and stopped a program that was providing a service not only for the children, but for parents. Parents see the children go on to camp.
Correct.
They don't have to worry about the children. They may out at the block for the people to get hold of them. They're going to the camp. So the camps were organized. Okay. So there were programs. Then there were inter-camp activities. Then had inter-camp competitions. They stopped all of those things, shut them down, and then try to bring them back then with all kind of.
And there was no structure.
I mean, these
summer camp is one issue. That is one issue for the summer. But we on the that 9-week break. Parents still have to make money. But then when you have the parent that have 3 children in primary school, that have to buy every single textbook. If I was the new elected minister of education, rather than just pretty talk, this is what I would have done. I would have implemented the same template that we use in the secondary school system, which is you pay that 130 fee and you get textbooks. Why still in primary schools the parents have to buy each individual book? You know what will happen? That gonna put the strain on parents. I watched the MPs here for the 11 plus. 5 different MPs. One at Lawrence Again Primary School, one at up there by Sheraton, and a couple others. All they do is give the children clipboards.
Clipboards and a pen.
It makes sense, man. I want to know what part these people stop down. But honestly speaking,
you know what?
Because you know why? Cost of living is high. And if you really care about people, people are underemployed, people are unemployed, mothers are on welfare. How are we really helping our Barbadians today? And primary school bucks, a buck is $75 for one buck. You gonna get 10 bucks. 10 bucks by $75. Look at $750 in textbooks. That don't include school clothes, exercise books, stationery,
shoes. It's true.
I would. This is no secret. But when the Democratic Party was in office, the Urban Development Commission used to provide assistance to school books and uniforms.
Correct.
But last September, Mia came out after the school children went back into school and promised the parents that she would give back $100.
I was one of those parents when my wife told me to start. I ain't seen that
and
yet.
I do not. That has never materialized.
Never. More promises. More promises. More promises.
That's all right. $100 is disrespect to our people. $100 can only get you stationery and not the full amount of stationery. If you want to buy a scientific calculator at $54 for one.
But you see, and I think sometimes when I think back, when I went to primary school, the primary school used to get free books.
Yeah?
Yes, the primary school, when I went to school, Royal Reader, you used to get books. The books used to be in the cupboard. Teacher going to bring back.
Hand them to you.
Hand them to you. And then they want to buy teacher. Every class had their own books.
But remember, under the IMF, a lot of funding is cut. And in the school, the educational system, a lot of funding has been cut in the educational system. So this is probably one of the things that have been cut. Because of the IMF.
It could be.
Cost of living high. People underemployed and unemployed. No, let me look at the underemployed people. The ones that working 32 hours over a 5-day period. Those persons have to get to work and have to leave children at home by itself. So what you think will happen?
What do we think about it, Lord?
Get me?
You see, and two for the our communities change.
We need, right? If when we get in power, you get me? I would suggest that we take the same money that they take for regathering and create a summer school program. Hear me out. This summer school program is gonna enroll all of the students in all primary schools and in all secondary schools that are struggling. It's also gonna offer other activities for the children that are already excelling in school. So we have to be creative in what we do. So they do the summer camp. All they do is give you a school to use.
The only problem they can get is what the teachers can say.
Oh, you mean?
Teachers got supposed to get break, man.
But no, this is where no the government going to be creative. Rather than using teachers, use the students from Erdiston. You students, some senior
My God, give them a
students.
little stipend too.
And that's where this is where they will create employment. Because you know why? When you now leave university, you need experience to get employment. So you might study sociology and you will need experience. So that is experience.
It can become like a national
voluntary program.
Right? National give back program.
All right, we have a comment here online from Monica Ince. I heard over brass tacks yesterday, some pensioners went for their money and were told to come back on Friday.
It's a cash flow problem that nobody wants to talk about. You know, you miss. No, I don't want to say misuse because that's a bad word.
Mismanagement of funds.
Yeah.
$1 billion missing from the NIS write-off. You have all these loans.
Wow.
So where's the money?
You got to be paying back interest. We still pay my bullet loan, you know, to be president. Ain't that pay yet? People keep forgetting. Every January, we got to find a wash stand of money to pay for that bullet loan. They see him, Prime Minister organized it. She's still got a lot of sins to pay for.
What figure we're looking at there?
But I think that was how much billion, million, that was. Yeah. And we have been paying back every year. I think it was about $4 million. We have to find every January or whenever I got numbers, maybe mixed up. But that's the Prime Minister doing. So this is not first. Like, there's a habit. You know? She knows to spend people money.
All right, Dale, you're the spokesperson for poverty alleviation. And if you check the estimate, only approximately about 7 million Barbados dollars was allocated to the poverty alleviation program under the welfare department. This poverty alleviation should be something that is priority in the minds of a government. But only 7 million out of 160 million has been allocated to this program. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts, the important thing, 2 P's. So Barbados Labour Party does promise. You get me? Promise with bare talk. Just promise. So if I was the sitting MP, it's no way that could happen under my books. No way, because the people of Barbados is my priority. So I am not here to make promises. I am here to make them my priority. So we as a Democratic Labour Party, I know under the stewardship of Mr. Ralph Thorne, people is going to be our priority. So look, are we gathering is not priority? You know why it's not priority? Because all of that is telling our young people today, it's cool to drink and party. Don't care how hard things is, drink and party.
Not just drink and party, but instead of empowering the people, we're empowering the gangsters with $8,000 a month.
Which is sad. It's very sad because look, when I look around the city, there's so much homeless people. But yet still, you got all kinds of funds allocated for the homeless. The homeless people was living in Louis Lynch secondary school.
Yes. But that joke, some of them.
Homeless people, I could tell you where homeless people living. So when we have these funds,
in the National Insurance Building too.
So like $7 million for welfare. This is why now, right? Limited resources will starve social growth.
Yes.
So when you mismanage the funds, you're gonna have the backfire. The backfire is that red footy, that red buster, that going red 40. All those dies. If I sorry, I mean I have one doctor say that could really tell people the effect that these days gonna have on your minds. You can't settle.
As a matter of fact, they had a nutrition program in schools that I can't say get mashed up, but it's no longer effective because the children still getting the sweet drinks.
Yes.
Just get
And not only that, they look, The city MP, Boyce and Bragg, in a newspaper article in 2020, I think it was, that he ensured that Dwight Sutherland and this administration they're gonna eradicate the pet toilets in the city.
Mhm.
I answered today, but I bought pet toilets in the city.
But no, on this topic, I went canvassing with the candidate for St. Michael East, NZ Granger.
Mm.
And there are many individuals in that constituency that still have pit toilets. Some of them have issues with water.
You're correct.
They applied to the water authority, Barbados Water Authority, for water, and they were told that they are in a certain zone 1. But-
the zones change now.
Yeah.
Change.
But right across from this area, which was the opposite side of the botanical gardens,
Mm.
you have the hospital that is built on this same zone. So these individuals are lacking a basic need, which is water. But the government went ahead and built this property on this same water zone.
The truth, I can speak a little bit about that because I find it very funny now too,
Mhm.
right? When I was still at Urban when the government came with the eradication program,
Mhm.
you know, and you know it's okay when you're in opposition to say you're gonna do this and do that, but you gotta first examine why the people don't have.
You need to do analysis.
Right?
Yeah.
Why are X and Y not benefiting from a system? Now, so when they came in hot and sweaty, and it was supposed to happen right away. And
Mhm.
my technical people say, the first that there was an article how much they were in existence, how many toilets there were, and they had some number that really was out to this world, right? And we argue too that not every place you can have a pit toilet. There are new systems. That are designed
Mhm.
that can work without the water. India has quite a few of them because the problem is the confusion with the water,
Yeah.
right? And certainly the urban got schematics and drawings and different models that they can use in the CMIV and so on to get away from the water issue. But the problem is the government went and changed the zoning configuration.
Yeah.
And I really feel that accommodate the hospital,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Now, the other challenge now is the other side where the botanical gardens is, where they have the effects.
The party.
Every time you have a party, you gotta get 100 of those things.
Yeah.
Chemical
Toilets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they cannot to obtain a sewage treatment over there is going to cost, I think the gentleman said, about $5 million for the sewage system alone, and that's not the problem. Maintaining it is the issue. It's expensive to maintain. So there have to be other models that can divert the focus on water and
Mhm.
use dry solvents. So I don't know the technical, but I know that we have done some work on some systems coming out of India that we could have used to get around that.
For these
The
people.
other thing is too, you can't just go and put in the toilet.
Mhm.
You got a bigger well,
Correct.
Yeah.
and you got a structure. You can't just you just don't put on toilet bowl. A person who own the house,
Correct.
That's
who
the
own the
challenge.
house, are you going to get permission? And the truth is, although we used to insist though, and we even did some swap. We put in a toilet in a rented unit, but you can't take rent for 6 months. It costs us $12,000 to put in. We work out the cost of the toilet, and you that person lives rent free till that money work out.
Mhm.
We did things like that, you know, to accommodate the people getting water toilets. I don't know what's going wrong now. I do not know what is going wrong. But that program should have been continuous.
Mhm.
What I know is they took the money to fix the bus stand.
Yeah. And the kiosks around the
Right.
yeah.
They took a lot of money to fix that. And then they went and spent a few dollars down opposite the post office, and they did you're in the city there where the
Over the yeah, they saw them. Yeah,
Correct.
they're clearing there and fixing it. Yeah.
Bungalow.
Right.
Mm.
And again, they do that properly. You know?
Temple, yeah.
But you see, the problem is that the people would approach the prime minister and say they want someone to do. And the prime minister said, do it. After the public office, go and get that done, go and get that done. Without doing a feasibility,
Test.
anything, just rush to please the prime minister and then waste money. And then you gotta be doing it over. You gotta start from scratch, knock down this, knock down that, because the prime minister gets some consultant to move the process, and then you gotta repair the damage when it's done. And that is the problem. And if you look at every single piece of legislation, every project, every policy had to be redone. Not one single piece of legislation went through two houses without amendments. Not one of them. Maybe except when they increased the money for the senior ministers. That had no problem. That's the only one I went through. All the others, even Bert, all of them, every single project had to go back to the lower house or go in the Senate and go in the committee for changes. Every single policy that's government started. The amalgamation of the social services, the sports council, the gymnasium, them pay waste money. Urban development coming consultant for 5 years. 5 years they've been consultant to bring two offices with 120 employees together. Consultant for 5 years at $14,000 a month or some rubbish. People that make it fun.
So there, for our viewers online that have been impacted by hurricanes, have damaged houses, etc., can you please tell them the correct procedure to go through to get the help that they need?
I can tell what it used to be.
Okay, that's fine.
It used to be. First thing, those people were always given first fast track any damage. Hurricanes, we would normally get special funding for that. Okay, and then so we will have our budget project and then there was this government when opposition started to complain when the DLP tried to use the fund that was a central bank. It was not resilience, man. It was in catastrophe.
Catastrophe fund.
When the Democratic Labour Party decided that they were going to use, I think it was $14 million to deal with storm one EDF or something. So one the other storm, they made a noise. They're not going to support it, and they made, but they right now and take the same money. And use it for Thomas and for Bert. You understand? No issue. Because then there's no opposition. So they go ahead and use it, but still they can't completely hold it. So what do with the money?
Yeah.
I mean, they changed the name now from that's a new name. Last week or week before. Storm. Oh, okay, I got it in my notes in there, but they changed the name from catastrophe fund to another fund. Okay, but the problem is Bert finished, and a year after Bert, the government announced yesterday, no, last week, Miss Cox, Dr. Cox, launched the Bert reconstruction project. I kid you now. Last month, Miss Cox announced the launching of the Bert recovery. I can't even know here, man. A big summer dance. A year after the storm done, they no launch the recovery project. You don't understand it. And every minute the minister was coming talking about how much boats get repaired and how much money people get. You still got vendors down there still want to get $1,200. The barrel
Emergency Response and Recovery Project.
that was launched before last also.
A year after.
A year.
Yeah.
And that's big news. The other issue that we didn't think about, more people, the post office in the hall. The minister turns up and says that he Abrams, he's gonna be giving back the pensioners. I think a window or somewhere where they could come and do a little bit of business. But the police got to remain a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you treat elderly people. And I see he said in the paper that I read it that they had to walk a little further. You go and close the post office. You don't say a word to nobody. You turn up one day, come that my mother used to go to the hall. She turned up when she get a call. That was not only just to collect her check, that used to be a meeting place. She would call up so and so and so again for 2 o'clock or whatever time. And then we use the time there to sit up to talk and to old chat and so on. And these people even smart enough to say, look, let's fortify some of these community centers.
Mm-hmm.
Let's fortify them so that nobody can rob them and break them. Huh? And let's distribute social security checks in there for the elderly in those communities from there. You ain't gonna open it every day. They're not on the 20th, the pensions coming. You ask the older people in the gap, we can send the police or whoever they with you come there and collect your check from there.
Mm-hmm.
No, them can't get smart and shut down the center, put the police in there. I hear that the whole rent for the building that the police were in. I don't know if it's true, but I hear they get put out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying anybody do close welfares too.
Yeah.
I thought when they close welfare, they would have do a cover. Because then people was going and stand up in the road. But not outside.
Yeah.
On the cover.
Mm-hmm.
Put on the cover so the people got shot. These people don't think. They don't care.
They don't care. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna ask the candidates, starting with Dale. Just give us an idea of the poverty situation in your constituency. What's going on with the people in your constituency?
Everybody want opportunity, persons, all the young people want opportunities from various angles. One, opportunities as it relates to job.
Mm-hmm.
Persons want jobs. Opportunities as it relates to entrepreneurship. Persons want to perfect entrepreneurship or want to get into entrepreneurship or want to take it from just a couple snacks to actual variety.
Mm-hmm.
Housing is a major issue in the city because we have persons that are overcrowded, houses that are overcrowded.
Mm-hmm.
We have houses that are in very bad condition. There are so much things I can go on and on, but the main things that we need right now for the city: better healthcare, better welfare, housing, and job opportunity. Once we can create that to help stabilize the city, I can guarantee you that could then help decrease crime. Because the more active we have the young people, the less, chances are that, I'm going to get involved in the life of crime.
We'll take what happened to the National Insurance Building, the old National Insurance Building, right in the middle of the city square. In front of you was square.
Why? Homelessness.
Yeah, because you what got me concerned. I heard the government was supposed to put into condominiums.
Condominiums.
Because it's just complement
The Little Dubai project.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mini Dubai.
Yeah, right. That's what it's supposed to complement. So I am not certain was he thinking of the party. It's something we really got to sit down and discuss because it is okay to got these lovely projects, but you also got to start providing for the people at the bottom that's struggling.
That's the first
Right.
one.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first place because look, sad to say, we will have a higher crime rate this year than last year. At present, these first 6 months that have gone, we done surpassed last year 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And not even only homicides and stabbings to him and breaking and entering
And everything.
Everything this thing getting out of hand. Man.
The only way we can counteract that, we have to create opportunity. real
We gathering.
opportunity to drink alcohol and listen to music.
Yeah, we gathering.
There are persons and that I have seen, especially young people, a lot of them, they are being tricked. They expect when they give the DLP for range the whole government that it'd be sunshine and there's every day be lots. They be a lot of bounty be collecting and a lot of them seeing that. I was happy that when we was fortunate that when we had the volcanic eruption and it was able to create a few jobs, the guys cleaning. And then, after then, some they were still involved in the road work where they're doing some cleaning here and there, but a lot of them got let go. Some of them just working 1 week on, 1 week off. So there's nothing really there for them. They, in terms of stability, and you have fellas around my age who, 45, they have no certificates. They're still living at home by a parent or a grandparent, and they have children. And obviously, it's once again, you have a situation where these guys seem to be, it's a dependency. So I can give you a little work here and there, but there's nothing ready for them. You have obviously in like what Dale said, for me, in constitution, looking in terms of jobs and housing, where we have housing in certain boxes where we have nothing has been done over the years, and you go on your campus, go to your houses, and obviously you're looking and analyzing and seeing what's going on and roofing. People have holes, they're rusting, the walls cracking. In some of the communities, once again, they don't look. I tell people, because obviously I'm going to be the minister. It's going to said you don't want to have a situation where you come up in the morning and you look like you're down the West Coast. When you go and they'll say in the city, use a lot of garbage and stuff, bush. I don't think the ministers probably, they actually see what's going on in the communities. It's not the nice thing to see, but a lot of fellas too, obviously looking for work, and young ladies looking for work. Some doing the low hairdressing, doing nails and stuff like that. Here, some fellas doing a low selling and stuff, trying to sell little drinks here. They are doing. Have a neighbor. He had been in a little situation, but he pulled himself together. He does some chicks. He's getting out. I tell fellas these are things that y'all can get into too. And for me, going forward, obviously for me to support, because at the end of the day, you're looking to enrich the lives of persons in the community. That's what they put you there for, to help solve, for them. So, but the constituencies, my constituency is lacking a lot. And I have to be fair. At first, the Senate MP, he was showing face all the time, and now he's missing. You can't see him, you can't. You're just seeing him on social media, wearing shades and trying to show off, But if you want to see the constituency,
the demand.
Yeah.
Demand.
What you running from now?
Running.
Yeah, running because people calling you, people want things done.
Yeah.
And they're getting it done.
You're getting it,
Yeah.
I walk from the mornings. I normally walk into the office, and coming up there by the Kennedy Drive. Then you get there by the roundabout that will take you by Central Purchasing. There's a canal that comes from that joins somewhere just past the Advocate. I think I show that. Listen, it is horrible.
That start from all the way up by
up by the what we went Saturday.
Correct.
Yeah.
Start
With the Mary School.
I start all the way up from St. Mary's School.
It is a horrible state.
Correct.
And the problem that I have is that they seem all this talk with the environment and mitigating this and all of those plastic bags going into the sea.
Correct.
Yeah.
But for us more, not only plastic bags, tons of mosquito larvae.
Yeah.
You get me? Bush out there tall. They have elderly people. They have little children. For us more, the pavilion that all of that gonna pass. All of that. That pavilion have wild dogs, tall bush, and it's just a wasted community center.
I mean, I see like yesterday where I went with their friends, and I had some 12 people. The government put down about 8 of those red tables. The mini
The
stadium.
pink. Oh,
the mini
uh-huh.
stadium.
Mhm.
Yeah, they tables there. Out by their friends. And they got what doesn't mean they start cutting grass in the little area. I'm talking about, I mean, let's begin here. And they got 12 people there. And those gutters down that lead all of those things into the sea to create all kinds of challenges for the coral and whoever else. This is no a year what I pass in there. And no cleaning of those gutters at all.
Again, poor governance.
Poor government.
Poor governance.
Wrong priority. Put
Correct.
some red benches, keep those areas clean,
Mhm.
and
that's solving something.
and get the same drainage people to get the drains clear. This is the hurricane season coming now.
Correct.
Get the drains around the city clean. Take up all of the plastics or whatever. You see here by Pelican. From the beginning of Pelican, you get all of those drains full of garbage. All of them done what they know for the side of it. Pack the garbage. And this government just walking, talking about resilience and climate change and basic environmental matters. Them can't get covered here anymore. They got people dumping as they like now to again. Coming doing that about it. All the old cars that they were supposed to move off the streets. And if you go in with the Prime Minister constituent name, she's St. Michael. If you go up Northeast, when you get going up by when they're walking this morning, Barbie's Hill, going up to Spooner's Hill on the right, they got about 50 old cars all packed around there on the road. And she constituency.
Have you seen any development in her constituency over the?
Listen. But then people like that. Let me tell you.
Satisfied.
They Bashar yeah. If I did the Prime Minister and they do Bashar yeah, they really do it. I would be hauled for murder. But she doesn't care.
They don't seem to care either.
Unfinished as I speak. And they were that was 3 years work. And it is unfinished as I speak. But that don't bother because she believes that people love her. People love her. I mean, it's just ridiculous. That wanted properly doing. It get patched up, great boat, and look like anyhow. If people did damage, she do anyhow. You can see that because she can't go with the shop.
I visited a lady in Christchurch West this afternoon, West Central, sorry, and this is in an area that we would deem as a upper middle class kind of area. And she said she went to the supermarket last week. She spent $200. She didn't buy any meat because she buys her meat other place, right? And she said she looked in the cupboard, she looked in the fridge, and she asked herself, I did not go to the supermarket recently. So the $200 in the supermarket is not stretching. So what is a realistic figure for household? Yeah, let's say 2 or 3. Yeah, she's an adult. She it's just her and her sister.
Okay. But if she eating healthy, she got $400.
This is for a month.
No,
a week.
If she eating healthy, if eating healthy, because first thing the fruits expensive. It's not really the fruits.
And it's gonna change fruits and vegetables too, because it go off pretty fast.
My fruits are cost every about $80, $90. So those that's to me. Kids get them more grapes and that sort of thing. Things in the supermarket expensive. I know that get some mangoes come in, we take some away because some of us got friends that got trees.
Yeah.
So we get some. And I find the kids that these days they don't like the mangoes. I can't hold mangoes and see mangoes then next I go eat them myself. You got the sugar apples, you can get some sugar apples. But I'm trying to get rid from buying. So whatever is in season in Barbados is my fruit. To deal with the price.
To help with it, yeah. So, but what for? Let's say now a household of 2 adults, 2 children. What is a livable figure for a month?
You're talking about groceries alone?
I'm
One
talking
thing
about
that-
bills, groceries.
Oh, it's on.
4 people in the house, so you're looking at least $4,000 a month. Working on in the high cost of living because look, minimum wage, which is $1,680, that is one person.
Mhm,
When taxes come over that and you pay rent, let me say rent is 1,000.
mhm,
You are left with $580, and then you have 2 children that have to get to school.
mhm.
Plus you and your husband will get to work. That money go on the loan and just rent bus fare.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's hard to survive with just one adult.
One of them,
Mhm.
correct. So that's what we have to be. We have to have a heart as a government to really see that our people are hungry, our people are struggling. We have people that fortunate for the hotel workers, they will go over and they will get a meal. But if hotel workers have to buy a meal working 24 hours at $252, they can't get nothing to eat.
Mhm.
A lot of people can't get nothing to eat.
We have a comment here from CD. I guess the $300 gimmick to win the by-election done spend, and people back to square one financially and struggling. But what happened within 24 hours after the by-election?
Yes.
Yeah, I think.
Gas went
Gas
up.
went
Yes.
up.
Gas went up.
She took it back.
I often shake my head. I often shake my head.
Mhm.
But the problem in poverty in Barbados also is the mismanagement and not coordinating with government services. In every ministry, agriculture, we were supposed to do something with sugar and the co-op energy, huh? The chicken cost, the chicken feed was supposed to come down.
Yeah.
People keep forgetting everything. The poultry farmers were supposed to get, not the pig farmers were supposed to get assistance. And when they had the heat problem last time, they were supposed to get assistance with some cooling areas. So if it happens again, because the premises came on talking about the weather changing, we have to find systems to support. Not all of it, that was just talk. That's agriculture. We got to do the housing and $60 million that I can't say disappear. That $60 million that were spent, but the house is still down there in Hope and the other place there. The people hoping that they'll get them finished.
Yeah.
Small Business Association. I saw somebody last month. People were coming. We have to save the small and medium-sized businesses. We got help with that association saying so. That they want help. You understand? Education, well, we got a new minister now, and something soon come.
Hopefully.
Yeah, he said soon coming. He can change the whole education. Cause he got all the ideas, see the brightest and best things since like
Right.
Transformation boss.
he coming to transform education.
Mhm.
We should transform and make sure that the primary school parents get a relief as it relates to books.
I agree with that. You can start there.
That's where you can start.
And you know, boy, we support it. We would support it. We would support it.
In addition to that, right, the tourism minister,
Mhm.
this is the time
Mhm.
that our tourism sector
Mhm.
is in trouble.
Mhm.
In trouble meaning all of the persons that are working for the next 5 months will be on short hours. July, August, September, October, November. Hotels don't start to lay off people from April 15th. That's the end of the winter season.
Mhm.
So now we're going into the summer.
Mhm.
You can still get a couple hours in between,
Mhm.
but temporary staff laid off. All temporary staff in the hotel sector laid off.
And what happens? What happens in this time?
This time,
School children need to get school supplies.
school supplies.
Mhm.
So now we have mothers and fathers in the hotel sector right now working on 24 hours and 32 hours, spreading it across 5 days. Back to school coming up. September, a lot of hotels gonna close for renovations. So rather than just we love this hotel sector, or we love to build hotels and build
Do
hotels,
something workers.
do something that will benefit the workers in this time. Go and ask any hotel worker in Barbados today what are their hours looking like and how it will affect them to send school the children, to pay a mortgage, to pay rent, to survive.
We have a comment from Lemuel Tull, I believe it was. I saw pork today in the supermarket, $19.75 per kg. I remember when pork was like $4.50 a pound.
I buy mine now. I buy something last week, $9.50. 50 a pound. Fish, $11. You don't know fish. You have to buy some fish.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you mean you can't eat the money? You understand with me? And if you study it with day,
It's true.
so you gotta find something to eat. But before I forget, I just want to ask a question about what the position with the archives building. That electric
Was burnt.
That electric missed everything else.
Just that part.
Hit that. What's the position with that building? Is it coming back on stream? Are we going to replace it? What happened to the artifacts or whatever was in that building? Any recovery? Any insurance money? We just tell Barbadians what the story is.
I haven't heard anything about it.
Right. So that's also about
Recently.
education. So I just can let that pass. I think we need to find out what the position of that building. There's so many things that we can ask that these people promise to do. We mean when the fire service is going to finish, station is going to finish.
Mm-hmm.
That,
Which one?
The one that got up
The opposite.
up with the point.
Yeah.
That was finished, and that was to soon come every second. I tell you, the gymnasium down there that was to put in all kind of fancy restrooms and things for the worker. It's still playing on the outside there.
Mm-hmm.
On there, I mean, it's what we can do with this stuff, no?
Soon to come.
Love.
All right, in our the last 8 minutes that we have, we could try to discuss how we can try to alleviate poverty. I'm gonna start with Dil because you're the spokesperson for poverty alleviation. So you can have the economic development, you have social safety nets, community empowerment, good governance, and transparency. We can touch on these topics.
So I can spend like a quick 30 seconds so that the
You got 10 minutes. Yeah.
8 minutes come down.
Yeah.
So first off, once elected, the first thing that we need to focus on as it relates to poverty alleviation is to create some development programs that will benefit the whole of Barbados as it relates to the young people. So those young men and young women that are on the blocks between 15 years old and 21, let me look at the Barbados Youth Service and other programs that can help them develop themselves. That is one aspect. Another aspect, right? We need transparency. We need checks and balances to eradicate
wastage,
corruption.
I said wastage.
To eradicate corruption.
When you say corruption and wastage, we're talking about funds, money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Reason being, right? Sad to say, a lot of the sitting MPs don't have managerial experience. So a lot of managerial experience. You don't know how to properly allocate, execute, and checks and balance. So the reason why I say that, because if you're on the ground doing your due diligence, you would then know the areas that need attention, and you would then put that attention and funding to those areas to help develop them. The only way we can have a safer community, a safer Barbados, and try to help to eradicate poverty, we then need to put certain structures that can develop people. Poverty is people. People is power. So we need to empower people. We need to put that power to help these people. Not what these people doing, to be honest. Not what this government doing.
But that's the name of the agency, people empowerment. Yeah, but they're not being empowered.
Government empowerment.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Pippi, obviously our social policies need to change, and we saw like, in my constituency recently, we saw the roads being certain roads where certain people live being paved. Now, obviously, that's something just surface there, above the surface, just for showing per se, but it's nothing that the persons really can benefit from in terms of that money could be allocated towards doing some maybe fixing a few houses in the community, what's not just something that's for obviously going forward for election purposes. In terms of education, we're looking at obviously empowering and educating not just the students, but also parents as well going forward, because that's where it all starts from. We're also looking at in terms of money. If you're looking at basically to try to alleviate this poverty, money, putting more money into these programs, social programs that can help individuals in these communities to go forward as well.
I think my thing is to reduce the implementation deficit that this government seems to be comfortable with. I didn't notice that after the athlete got hurt, when she got the buses placed down,
Okay.
the minister said that legal protections have never been more urgent. Then when Mr. Humphrey said that he's sending a document to the stakeholders to have a rigorous discussion. Then you had Abrams saying that the police got staying there longer, but he's soon coming with the new postal services. Gordon Edwards said he's soon bringing legislation to cover timeshare. Soon coming. Mr. Jordan said that he launching a national job registry, but he's sending it to get some operation details to be done. John Haig discussing the vendors here at Pelican. She got to see how best to assist them. Education consultant, Dr. Gibbs, he want more inclusive policy to go around so the teachers can assist everybody in class. Dr. Asher Badger, if they are not coming to us, we need to get a policy to go and find them. Minister Husbands, we have to find new ways to engage various systems and to penetrate our information with our arguments. Evidence of a sleeping and caring group of nutrients.
So Derek, in your capacity as a community development officer, what were some of the things that you did within the communities to help empower individuals?
But the first thing you got to know your communities. And the distance between the technicians and the politicians and the communities is very, very wide. You come up at election time, and I hope that your young candidates will understand that you got to live in your constituency. You got to feel it, and I know how they're breathing, how they're eating, how they're sleeping. But you got to connect with your communities. You got the vibes of the community. You got to feel the communities, and you also got to know how the community want to help itself, what their preferences are, what they will let you do. Remember the same one up when we got in Edgewood, the young man said he wanted some land belong to the Polytechnic to do farming, and he insisted that he put in a playing field, and the boy don't go playing field.
It's wasted land.
We have to take and put it and like a searchlight. It's serious. And I'm saying, if he knew, if he was in touch with his community, he would have recognized that in that district, the average age was over there is about 70. We don't have many young people out there around, but we don't have many of them. Most of the young people have parents move on and left the grandparents out there. If you go in Bashar, you find the same thing. It's a pattern in those parts of St. Michael. We're not having as many young people as we had before. And if you get into really the housing districts are. But if they can score, the average is the 70. You don't got all the children left and left the grandparents up there, like myself. You understand? So if you are aware of your constituency, you will put activities and programs and policies to respond to the existing needs of the community. You don't do it because everybody put in let's do. Everybody putting down red benches, you put down red benches too. It's a habit. You don't identify what the needs are. All the communities are different. Communities have different needs. That's why I didn't like some of the programs that we did in the constituency council. Each constituency council had its own ideas what to do in that constituency. There were no repetitious things that everybody running doing the same thing. Some people used to concentrate on sports, some of them on the elderly, some of them on the young people because they recognize the needs of that community.
The people.
Now these things everybody put on red benches, so red benches. Everybody want 12 million stadium. So faster, galvanized and
fencing. Yeah.
It's really deplorable activities in Barbados.
You want 12 million stadiums and you can't maintain the
Wow.
current pavilions.
Can't forget first.
All the shutdown and the vendors dropping off. And if you look at the DCMA estimates, all in quarterly, that their community center want painting, that is what they want lights. And they're quarterly the estimates about these things that they need. But they're going to build 12 new mini stadiums. Like they're talking to idiots.
All right, we're
They just want headlines.
Yeah.
we're coming to the end of our show, but before we depart from our viewers, I'm just going to make a couple announcements. The Democratic Labour Party is going to Connecticut, and they're also going to New York. On the 11th, which is the Friday of July, the opposition leader, Mr. Ralph Thorne, would be in Connecticut at Windsor, Connecticut, from 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then on the 12th of July, which is the Saturday, from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., we will be in Canarsie at Canarsie Cricket Grounds, Monroe Cohen Park in Brooklyn, New York. And then on the Sunday, which is the 13th of July, there will be a town hall meeting, and the address will be by the political leader, Mr. Ralph Thorne. He will be having a frank discussion on national and party issues. And this would be at St. Albans Church at 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. Derek, you've been to Canarsie before.
Yeah.
Could you give us just a little summary of what we can expect?
It's an opportunity where Barbadians, some from as far as Canada, come down. I know Connecticut used to bring down big bus back in the day. People come up from Florida, and it's a big open area. You'll probably have something like 40 or so booths. The Barbados Tourism Overseas Agency will have information, and then you have a few police association, nurses association. So Bajans come up that day. Then the activities for children, kite flying, and so on. And then there's music, you understand? And of course, good Bajan food will be on sale. And it's the only thing, the sun is to be out when you leave. That's the only problem. Because they shut down around 7, the sun still out.
Yeah.
But it'll be, I've been 10 times. And I look forward to going every year. And every year I meet someone I have not seen since I was at school. Somebody, you went to school at Lindsay Hall. I have not seen that man since 6 years ago. Happened the last 2 years. But it's a good event. You get to meet people that you haven't seen for a long time. And it's good Bajan fun. We don't one thing they don't play cricket, that's the only thing. They play on that day. It's a cricket ground around there too, but they don't play cricket on that day. I was hoping that one of these days somebody will organize.
Oh, I thought it was actually going to be a cricket match.
No.
Oh, okay.
See, because I believe they will have to shift it someplace else because the whole field is enclosed with tanks.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, we have come to the end of our show. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. It was a very engaging, informative discussion. And I look forward to seeing some of you pretty soon. And to our viewers, thank you for joining us tonight. And we look forward to seeing you joining us on Thursday for our next DLP TV show. Thank you and have a good night.
Good night.